I call the special meeting on November 8th, 2018 at 10:03 to order. Ms. Treasurer, will you administer the oath?
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Hamilton City School District, Butler County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
Ms. Treasurer, please call roll.
Hoppa?
Here.
Robinson?
Here.
Hamblin?
Here.
Cameron?
Here.
Drake?
Here.
Thank you. Next, I will call the special meeting on November 8th to order. Will everyone please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any comments today?
Thank you, Mr. President. We've got a lot of good things going on in the city. I'd like to begin by congratulating Hamilton High School's Big Blue Company for presenting their musical Godspell this past weekend. It was a great testament to the musical and acting talents of the Hamilton High School students. In addition to that, we've got some accomplishments from Baden's athletic team, Baden's football team made it to the playoffs this year, and Baden's cross-country team has made it to regionals, so congratulations to those students. Shout out to the Hamilton High School fall athletes, Keyshawn Stevens, Olivia Hudgens, Erica Scott, and Samantha Fuller for being named Cincinnati Enquirer Athletes of the Week for their respective sports during this season. Hamilton Junior State of America will be attending Fall State, their 5th convention, this coming weekend, where they will debate and represent the high school in Columbus at the Ohio State House. Baden's drama department has their production year, Good Man, Charlie Brown, which will be presented November 15th through 18th, so let's go support Baden. And we've got some academic accomplishments as well. National Merit commended Simon Hoppa and John Berg, semifinalists, Ellen Gantenberg, and National Hispanic Scholar alias Zach Pacheco. Congratulations to Hamilton High School teachers Bridget Adams and Baden High School teacher David Gratz as they represented their schools for Educators of Excellence. And finally, congratulations to Hamilton High School seniors Connor Robinson and Morgan Mayer on being selected as winners in the Wendy's High School Heisman Trophy Award. Thank you, Mr. President.
We will now begin with item number 1.
Mr. President,
Mr. Hoppe?
Baden High School should pave a new separate entrance off of Columbia Road to create more manageable traffic flow for the school.
Do you have police officers or administrators who are out front to direct the traffic?
We currently have one police officer outside. Direct traffic.
Who owns the property now? If it is public property, can the city donate the land to the school?
Most of the property behind Baden High School is owned by Baden. This is a forested area. However, there's a stretch of property between Columbia Road and the property that Baden owns that is all residential, so that would need to be purchased and rezoned.
Is this something that the city would need to survey? Would there be cost for streetlights?
Yeah, it would be smart to do that.
Okay.
Would you have separate parent drop-off from buses and student drivers?
The way it works now is everyone drives through the front, parents drop off, and students and buses drop off there, as well as the students who park in the back have to drive through. So we would continue to have buses and parents drop off in the front, and students would just enter the parking lot from Columbia Road behind the school.
If it is private property, what would be the cost to buy it?
I'm not sure. I'll have a meeting with the current owner and then get back to you.
Do I have a motion for item number 1?
I motion that Baden High School should pave a new separate entrance off Columbia Road to create a more manageable traffic flow to the school.
Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a motion by Hoppe and a second by Drake. Ms. Treasurer, will you call roll?
Cameron?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hamblin?
Yes.
Drake?
Yes.
Appa?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. We will now move to item number 2 of the agenda, please.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake?
Hamilton High School should purchase white gowns for the top 20 seniors to wear at commencement so that they get better recognition.
Mr. Superintendent Sutton, do you know of any other high schools that do this?
I know that Fairfield does, and they've been doing it for a few years.
Doesn't Hamilton High have a very nice top 20 dinner already? And aren't their students the first to be recognized at the commencement ceremony?
I believe that Hamilton High School already does have a dinner, and they are the first to be recognized at commencement.
Okay.
Are the students first across the stage already when they graduate?
Yes.
Will this cost the high school or the district money?
No extra money from the district will be needed. Students buy their own gowns.
What does Baden do for its top 20 or top 10 students?
Baden already has special recognition for those students. They have a luncheon towards the end of the year, and also they dress up, whereas the other students are not dressed up on a certain day during senior week. So they already do have recognized them in a way.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that Hamilton High School should purchase white gowns for the top 20 seniors to wear at commencement so that they get better recognition.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Drake and a second by Hamblin. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Robinson?
Yes.
Papa?
No.
Drake?
No.
Hamblin?
Nope.
Hammer?
Yes.
Motion fails 3-2.
Thank you. We will now move to item number 3 on the agenda. Hamilton High School and Baden High School should have a student spirit and involvement program to get more students to attend events and activities in the schools. I'm asking that Baden High School and Hamilton High School implement an app at the respective school to promote student involvement. The app is called 5-Star Students, and as a student attends a game, play, or school concert and uses the app to check in, they will be awarded X amount of points. After receiving so many points, the student will receive various gifts to thank them for their student involvement. This award includes gift cards or spiritware that are either donated to the school or purchased by student council or a parent group such as the Boosters.
Do you know of any other schools that do this, and are they successful?
Yes, Lakota East High School does this, and they are very successful in doing so.
What type of incentives are you wanting to see through this?
Yeah, so we could either give spiritware through the Spirit Shop, or local businesses could donate gift cards.
Okay.
Are there some apps for this that can keep track of the points?
Yes, the 5-Star Student app does a very good job of doing this, like Lakota East uses.
There's no extra cost for the app as well.
Right. I motion that Hamilton High School and Baden High School implement a student spirit and involvement program to get more students to attend events and activities in the schools. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion by Robinson and second by Kammer. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Papa?
Yes.
Drake?
Yes.
Hamblin?
Yes.
Hammer?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. President,
Mr. Kammer?
joint AP and CCP classes from Baden and Hamilton should work on projects to benefit the city and organizations and to better collaborate with students from other schools.
What transportation or curricular costs could be incurred?
So each school would have bus fees given to them to transport the students.
This would look good on a resume as a project that they've done for the city, would it not?
Yes, it looked very good.
Would this be an after-school project? If not, I feel that they would run into the issue of fitting in these projects with the fast-paced AP curriculum.
It would be an after-school project like Civic Day Today. It would be an ongoing thing outside of school, and maybe have one day set aside to get students off school to further carry out their project.
2 questions, council member. Would this program need a teacher advisor?
For outside of school, yes, for any meetings that are held, and then obviously on the day that the program is put into motion, yes, they would need teacher advisors from the classes.
And did you have any specific activities planned with these courses?
Yes, so we came up, AP Spanish students can work along with the organization of Living Waters, using their Spanish skills to communicate with children. AP Government could do special short-term projects for the city. AP and CCP Biology work on the Great Miami River Project
Okay,
as well.
thank you.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that joint AP and CCP classes from Baden and Hamilton should work on projects to benefit the city and organizations and to better collaborate with students from other schools.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Motion by Cameron, second by Hoppe. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Hamblin?
No.
Hoppe?
Yes.
Camer?
Yes.
Robinson?
No.
Drake?
No.
Motion fails 3-2.
Mr. President,
Mr. Hamblin?
Hamilton High School should implement school safety badges for security. Entailing on this, I think that in order to create more of an orderly form in the building and to help prepare the students for the future, I think it'd be best that the students at the high school building start to wear student ID badges for identification purposes.
So you would say it does prepare students for the real world, as most companies use employee badges in their buildings?
I do. For the staff members in the building now, they are required to badge in and badge out of the building, so this would further prepare them in whatever field of business that they go into.
What would be the use of badges since students at Hamilton High School are already permitted to have a pass when in the hallway?
This would be different from having a pass in the hallway. A teacher would have to issue a pass to go into the hallway, to go to their locker, restroom, etc. This would be more used for terms of identification and for more of security purposes.
Ms. Avery, what are the costs of implementing these new techniques?
Well, a new ID printer to be able to print out for the students is around $800.
Okay. And this is just to clarify as well. This is not to enter. This is not to have access to get into the building, but rather for identification of students so that officials know who students are and who are guests in the building to determine the difference.
Would this be a requirement for the dress code?
I would like to make it a requirement for the dress code. As stated earlier, I do think that in order to create an orderly fashion and to help prepare the students at the high school for the real world of business, this would be something that we would need to start implementing.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I move that Hamilton High School should implement school safety badges for security.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Hamlin and second by Hoppe. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Camer?
Yes.
Drake?
Yes.
Hamblin?
Yes.
Hoppe?
No.
Robinson?
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Mr. President,
Mr. Hamblin?
I also believe that Hamilton High School should hire a designated community service coordinator. This person would be in charge of, this person would be the designated one to work with city and social organizations to coordinate volunteers for civic events and activities.
Does Baden have a specific person for this?
Yes, so Baden has a service coordinator. Her name is Megan Halverson. And how the service thing works right now is freshman and sophomore years, they are acquainted with a certain project, and their junior year they are required to do 20 hours with that project, and the senior year they are required to do the same.
Didn't Hamilton High School have a coordinator before?
Yes. Recently, this past year, Mrs. Zelene Miller did retire. She was a great addition to the Hamilton High School team. She worked alongside, closest to the Astra program that we have at the high school, which is very volunteer-based. Since she did retire this past year, the district has not hired a person to fill the position, and I'm also not sure if the position has been posted. So at this time, we do not have anybody to take her place. And I believe that she was a great addition to the high school.
And what would the cost be to have a new coordinator?
And teacher average salary is around $60,000, so.
And I will, if I may, I would like to add that having this person to coordinate with the multiple organizations in the high school, such as Student Council, National Honor Society, and Astra, I think that having this person here would be able to benefit, organization throughout the school, and I just see it fit in having somebody like Mrs. Miller in our school.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that Hamilton High School hire a designated community service coordinator.
Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a motion by Hamblin and a second by Drake. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Drake,
No.
Hamblin,
Yes.
Papa,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Cammer.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Hoppe.
Baden High School should implement Friday food trucks. This is a great way to get local business to go to the schools and to give students a fresh meal and something that they would not otherwise have access to during the school day.
Are there dietary and nutritional value requirements their school's dietary department must reach?
No, there are not many. Baden has a lot of freedom as to what they can serve in their cafeteria.
What food vendors would have the potential to be reached?
Local business such as Richard's would be a good addition, and then also any restaurant with delivery capabilities to make it easier on their end.
I have two questions. What is the cost of these vendors to attend the school?
Well, if they are delivery, then we could set it up so that students order ahead of time, and then it would just be the normal cost of their delivery.
And when would these vendors need to have their orders beforehand?
A couple days ahead at least.
Mr. Hoppe, I have two questions, or a couple questions with this. Is this going to be a specific perk for the seniors, or is this going to be open for all students?
I suggest that we start it out with seniors and teachers to see what the sort of reception is and how many people want to participate. And if it spreads to the other grades that they want to, we start to open it up to them.
Okay. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any comments on this matter?
Well, thank you. I just feel like Friday food trucks would be a great addition for Baden because, like they said, not a lot of times the food in the cafeteria, a lot of students don't necessarily like it, and a Friday food truck might be another option for them, that and an incentive maybe in addition to that.
I agree. I think we should start small with just the staff members and the seniors as a perk, and try it out once a month to see how it goes before we do open it up to all of the student body.
I think that's a great plan.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that Baden High School should implement Friday food trucks.
Second.
We have a motion by Hoppe and a second by Hamblin. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Hamblin,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Papa,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Cammer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
Hamilton High School and Baden High should showcase their talents of their students by having a joint art show at the Fitton Center for Creative Arts. So already, I know some Baden students go to the Fitton Center to showcase their arts, but I think that having a joint art show with Baden and Hamilton High School could help bring the schools closer together.
How will students be selected, or how do they apply to be part of this?
So each of the students would apply to their selected art teachers, and the art teachers would then allow them to go and present at the Fitton Center.
Two questions, if I may. What balance would be present from each school?
We would try and get an equal balance of both Hamilton and Baden students.
Okay. And Mr. Superintendent, have they done, or has a initiative like this been in the past before?
Not that I'm aware of, but I think that this could be a step in the right direction because there are lots of talent at Hamilton High School and Baden High School, and bringing those together could be great for the city, so we should start it.
I agree.
Will the fitness center be able to accommodate the cost of having both schools have a showcase for their art?
Yes, I believe that, like I said before, there are already Baden students that go and showcase their art, so I don't see why Fitness Center could not accommodate that cost.
Will there be an opening night with invitation for administrators and specific teachers?
Yes, there would.
Do you see it as just a visual art sort of thing, or would you open it to musical talent as well?
Yes, we would open it to musical talent and any kind of arts that would be shown. But if musical talent is what will be performed, then we would think about moving it to a different location that would more accommodate the musical interest.
Do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that Hamilton High and Baden High should showcase their talents of their students by having a joint art show at the Fitton Center for Creative Arts.
Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a motion by Drake and a second by Hoppe. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Robinson?
Yes.
Cameron?
No.
Hamblin?
No.
Drake?
Yes.
Papa?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Hamilton High School seniors and Baden High School seniors should do a joint Spirit Olympics. So this Spirit Olympics is similar to what Baden High School does every year. So this would have Hamilton High School kind of participate with Baden to show community involvement in this, and it would kind of piggyback off what Baden High School does already do.
Mr. President, how would they choose the participants for this?
Right. So Baden High School, I believe they use they have their student government nominate students to participate in specific events, and we could use that with we could do that with student council, for instance.
Okay.
What events would be included in the Spirit Olympics?
We could do tug of war. We could do volleyball. We would kind of have Baden really pick most of these events since they are very familiar with this event.
A couple questions, Mr. President. Where would this event occur?
Right now, I would say this would occur at Baden High School due to Hamilton High School's gymnasium floor being redone, so we would be unable to hold this event.
Okay. And Mr. Superintendent, do you know of any other high schools that do a combined high school pitted against each other Spirit Olympics?
Not that I am aware of, but like I said, I think you have to start somewhere, so it's first time for everything.
So will this be a co-ed activity, or will it just be the Baden boys against the Hamilton boys?
I think either way it could work. We could really leave that up to the participants to choose. I think either way, yeah, like I said, would really be beneficial in this case.
What honors would there be for winning?
We could definitely customize a trophy to give to the respective school that would win the Spirit Olympics, or we could simply just have bragging rights, either one. I move that Hamilton High School seniors and Baden High School seniors should do a joint Spirit Olympics. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Drake?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Cameron?
Yes.
Hamblin?
Yes.
Papa?
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
Mr. President,
Mr. Cameron.
schools in the Hamilton City School District should begin offering foreign language courses earlier, beginning at the elementary school level. So coming from my grade school, I wasn't offered any language class until 7th grade when we received a Spanish teacher, and I feel like I was at a disadvantage maybe to the other schools that were offering Spanish or any other foreign language at a younger age as soon as you get there, such as 1st grade or even going back before that.
I'm sorry. Mr. President, or I'm sorry, council member, will there be a lot of, or what foreign languages would be taught through this?
So I would say the most beneficial languages to start out earlier, obviously Spanish. It's around us more than we think, and I think it's a good skill that you can pick up, especially when having to take foreign language in high school.
Will there be a lot of interest amongst the students?
Especially in 1st grade, starting that early, I don't think that students really realize that much about what's going on. It's just a class they have to take, but I feel as they get older and when they move into high school, having those skills will make them appreciate it more.
You plan for this to continue into middle schools after elementary?
Yes, I think they should learn it all the way up until they get to high school.
For instance, here in the Hamilton City School District, how many teachers would need to be hired for all eight elementary schools and then the 2 middle schools?
So I would say I'm not very sure on the number of students that are at those schools, but I think that it would depend. At my grade school, we only had about 30 kids a class, not very big. So we only needed 1 teacher, so I think it would just depend on how big your classes are and how big the student body is.
And I have a comment too, if I may. I think for instance, since, like you said, for example, Spanish is around us more than we think it is. I think that is something that the city celebrates for their diversity. I think that is a great initiative. Studies do show that if you are taught a language in your early years of life, that you have more of a chance of retaining that information throughout your life. So I think that starting this early on is something very important, and I think that we should definitely move from here. Mr. Superintendent, what is your stance on this in terms of education?
I think foreign language and communication is very important, and last year I went to a foreign language teacher conference in Albuquerque, and I learned a lot about foreign language, and a lot of the keynote speakers there talked about how important it is to start learning it at an earlier age instead of in high school, because the brain and neuroplasticity is higher at a younger age, so it's easier for us to grasp those more difficult concepts and skills. Thank you.
And we would not be the only district that would be doing this, early on too. Many schools in the surrounding area do partake in this initiative of starting a language earlier, more in the parochial schools, but I think this would be a great initiative for our district.
Also, Ms. Avery, how much would it cost to hire each foreign language teacher?
Around $60,000.
Okay. And do I have a motion for this item?
I motion that schools in the Hamilton City School District should begin offering foreign language and courses earlier at the beginning level of elementary school.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kammer and a second by Hamblin. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Drake,
Yes.
Cammer,
Yes.
Hamblin,
Yes.
Papa,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Great. We have now came to the section on the agenda where citizens may address the board members. Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Joni Copus, 123 Main Street. I own a art store on Main Street, and I love your idea of having the art show at the fitness center. But I would encourage you to maybe superintendent work with the principals of the schools and maybe have student artwork at the various local businesses around town. Maybe participate in special events like Operation Pumpkin or Ice Fest. I know we do a lot with our musical students, singing and instruments, what have you, but it'd be nice to show the visual art as well.
I'd have to agree with you. Thank you. Anybody else? You can come forward on any stance not on this agenda or
Students, you are also encouraged to come up as well.
Patrick Keating, 609 Ridgeline Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio. I have a question regarding the Baden food trucks. So currently I'm a teacher at Baden, and currently we have the Floodmobile come about once or twice a year. And there's a problem of students, the line being very long and students being late to their 6th or 7th bell classes. So what plans are in place to ensure that that doesn't happen with the food trucks? I'm all on board with the food trucks, by the way. Great idea. But that's a real problem from the academic side.
So with the Flubs truck coming by, that's a event after lunch. So it kind of, you get your lunch, you eat, and then it's more of a treat afterwards. So with the food trucks, I think it would more of replace the lunch. So you would have time to get your food and eat, and it wouldn't just be extra added time onto the additional lunch.
Additionally, we also plan is to have them order ahead of time, so the food would already be made. All they would have to do is pay money and collect it.
Have any of you spoken to the Baden administration about making this possible?
We have not yet, but we plan to.
Please do so.
Thank you for your comment. Hello.
Hi. Dershi and Bonnie, 7743 Sycamore Woods Lane. And okay, so you mentioned about having school safety badges to differentiate between the guests and the students. Don't
Yes.
guests already have like a sticker that they wear?
They do. They are labeled guest on their stickers, and it is scanned from their driver's license or their ID. I think the purpose of having this difference is that the students who are in the building, this would be more of a security measure for them. If something were to happen, law enforcement had to come into the building, they would be easily identified, things like that. What other questions do you have about that? I'm very interested from Are you a student?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What other questions might you have about that?
Nothing right now. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Hi, Mark Charles Bruger, 2408 Brickhouse Lane. I would just like to talk about the traffic on New London Road, especially in school time. I leave about 30 minutes before the police officer gets there because I know when I'm coming in, I'm gonna be sitting in that line for a gosh darn hour if the police is not there. So I would just like to state that the emergency on that road is prominent. This is something that plagues that road and plagues all those people. I feel extremely bad because I'll be sitting outside in front of school and there'll be 60 cars blocking off that neighborhood. How do those people get to work? They must wake up at 5 and then leave right then. I would like to propose that whatever you guys do it quickly because that road better be like a 4-lane road by 2020. I'm just saying.
We feel the same way.
We appreciate your comment as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruger.
Hi, Todd Blackburn, 5370 Stillwell Beckett Road. Regarding the motion for the foreign language in schools, you mentioned Spanish, but I was wondering if there were any other languages that you would be willing to offer, like specifically German, because I know this area was settled by a lot of Germans. There's a lot of German heritage in this region, and I know for a fact if I had had the opportunity when I was in elementary school, my parents would have liked for me to take German. So are there any other plans for any other languages as well?
I would say when taking initiative on the foreign language in earlier schools, you're going to have to look at what language is going to be most beneficial to students as they get older and get to high school, and what languages are being used most in the world. I'm sure if you look at most international languages, combine how many people in your area speak Spanish and or French or something along there. I think it's kind of why you don't see Latin as much in schools anymore, because people may say it's as important to learn that language, but if it's not being spoken or practiced anymore as much as it used to, what's the point? So I think it's more important to look at what's going to benefit students the most, but I don't think that there's a problem with learning outside of those languages, such as German, just on their own time and not in school.
Thank you.
Latin is the root of all words. Fun fact.
Shelby Ernst, 6283 Morris Road. I have a question regarding the Spirit Olympics. Now, the seniors already at Baden compete with juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. Would that still go on, or would it just be with the seniors at Hamilton High?
Yes, that would still go on. This would just be an extra event to have during the year.
Our gym at Baden is kind of small, so I'm not sure we could accommodate that. Would the other grades get to watch us as we did that, or is it just strictly seniors?
I'm sure that any Baden High School students could attend that. I think we would have problems at Hamilton High School since it wouldn't be there to transport all the kids. So I think it would just be the Baden High School students that would watch, unfortunately.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any Hamilton students who would like to comment or ask questions?
School board, in the interest of time, I would just take one more question, if there is one.
We have one. Hello.
Joseph Albinus, 806 Dayton Street. The printer for the IDs for the safety badges, will they be used for anything other than the safety badges? Because it seems like a little bit pricey, $800 if we're only using it for that.
Thank you for your concern. I think that would be something that they would have to decide at the school level. Mr. Superintendent, what's your intake on that?
Because you did mention the price, that is important. In addition to the safety and the security, just the name badges, I think if we're going to pay for the extra ID badges, we could potentially add a technology to the cards that students could potentially load money onto those so they could pay for their lunches with their security badges. So then that cost wouldn't be or seem as high because we'd be using it for more things instead of just identification.
All right. Thank you for your time.
And I do believe that Baden does have the initiative to where you can put money onto your card and do you guys just scan your cards
Yeah.
when you go through the line? Okay.
So there's when you go up with your tray or whatever you're getting for lunch, at the register there's a little scanner, there's a little barcode, you scan it, and then they just type it in and the money gets taken right off your badge.
And do you find it fast and efficient?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A majority of the students do buy lunch every day, so it makes the line faster and it's a lot easier to, get your money and get your lunch faster.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment as well.
Mr. Superintendent, do you have any last comments?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Drake?
I motion that we adjourn the meeting. Sorry.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Hamblin and second by Hoppe. Now, Ms. Treasurer, will you please call the roll?
Drake?
Yes. Here.
Cameron?
Yes.
Hamblin?
Yes.
Appa?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
I now call this meeting adjourned at 10:40.
I would now like to call this regular meeting of City Council to order. It is November 8th, 2018, and we are located at 345 High Street. If you would all please stand and join Councilmember Abby Mathias as she offers a prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. May the roads rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Mayor, will you please take a roll?
Yes.
Reese?
Here.
Ambani? Here. Blackburn?
Here.
Barney?
Here.
Fields?
Here.
Herndon? Here. Mathias?
Here.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll discuss our first agenda, and we are going to listen to two special presentations today that are presented by Councilmember Fields and Vice Mayor Bonney, respectively. Councilmember Fields, would you like to start?
If every Baden council member would like to follow me to the pulpit, and Mr. Keating would you please come up as well. We'd like to thank Mr. Keating for coming here today, and we have a proclamation to say to you. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas Mr. Keating graduated from St. Peter and Chain School and Baden High School. He attended Miami University. He is working on his master's degree at the University of Notre Dame. It is Baden's good fortune that Mr. Keating has returned to Baden as a teacher. He has done so much to improve the minds and hearts of his students. And whereas Mr. Keating keeps his classes interesting and engaging through a variety of fun participation-based activities. And whereas Mr. Keating shows true passion for his subject matter and for the act of teaching. And whereas Mr. Keating cares deeply about his students' academic development, investing significant time and effort into making them better writers and thinkers. And whereas Mr. Keating has given generously of his time to Baden outside of the classroom. Mr. Keating serves on the School Safety Committee, heads up the PLC program, and serves as a baseball coach. And whereas Mr. Keating is highly dedicated to Catholic education, he believes in its ability to get the best out of the students who experience it. He serves as a retreat leader at Baden and a Eucharist minister at Baden school masses. And whereas Mr. Keating is eminently quotable, never letting you forget that you should presume positive intentions and that every minute matters. And whereas Mr. Keating is a man who lives his faith, he is a loyal parishioner at St. Peter's in Hamilton. He makes a habit of always thinking about his responsibilities to the greater good. Now therefore I, Carla Fields, Civic Day Council member and fellow members of Hamilton City Council, do hereby proclaim the 8th of November, 2018 as Mr. Patrick Keating Day in the city of Hamilton, Ohio. Congratulations, Mr. Keating, for being a first-class role model for your students. Would you like to say any words?
Can everybody hear me without the mic? Oh, no. Well, thank you to Civic Day students. Mr. Mears definitely surprised me last week when they said they were honoring me, and that was I really appreciate everything they do, and it's an honor to be a part of this program, and it's an honor to work with all you great students every single day. People always ask me how I like teaching and why I teach, and it's honestly I never go to work. I get to go to school every day to hang out with wonderful people that continue to surprise me, to amaze me, to inspire me. And I appreciate all the work that all my former A pushers and non-A pushers are doing back there, and all the work you continue to do. So thank you very much.
Vice Mayor Abani, if you would present your proclamation.
Would Mrs. Vinegar and any families that she brought along please come to the pulpit, as well as the Hamilton's council members? We have chosen to honor Mrs. Vinegar. Whereas Mrs. Jamie Vinegar, a Hamilton High School English teacher, has shown the utmost sense of endearment and benevolence to every student and staff member at Hamilton High School, has created a safe and welcoming environment for her and all of her students to be openly themselves. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar was born and raised in her own city of Hamilton and has graduated from Hamilton High School as well. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar has been teaching all levels of English for 15 years at Hamilton High School. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar decided to stay in Hamilton due to her strong appreciation of the diverse students, the passionate and professional coworkers, and the overall uniqueness of Hamilton. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar is an individual whose students and staff admire because of her remarkably approachableness and immensely supportive personality. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar consistently shows such a lively attitude, carries a warm, welcoming ambience anywhere she goes, always walks around with a contagious smile on her face, and creates an amiable atmosphere in her classroom. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar invokes a passion for literature in her students, which stems from her constant enthusiasm for the subject. And whereas Mrs. Vinegar always puts her students first and goes out of her way to make sure that they succeed. Now, therefore, I, Darshi Ambani, Civic Day Vice Mayor of the City of Hamilton, Ohio, and members of Hamilton City Council, do hereby proclaim the 8th of November 2018 as Mrs. Jamie Vinegar Day in the City of Hamilton, Ohio. Congratulations, Mrs. Vinegar. Do you want to say anything?
I am incredibly honored. Thank you so much. The best awards come from students. And I feel really honored again to have been a part of the journeys of so many of you precious individuals out there. I love you all. I love my job. Love Hamilton. Thank you.
Now we will move to audience of the citizens. 8 individuals who have signed the book in the back of the room to speak are allotted up to 3 minutes in front of the podium. Would Janier have Hamblin please come to the podium at this time? In apologies if I mispronounced your name.
My name is Tanner Hamblin at 645 Orient Way, and I have got a problem. I've got a real problem that needs to be fixed, and I'm tired of waiting. I got potholes sitting around the city, not getting fixed, just laying there, waiting for my car to hit them. What's going on here?
Have you sent a notification of these potholes?
I've sent
through the
plenty of
app?
notifications, sent them all. I'm getting really, really fed up with this, okay? I've waited at least a year. I mean, come on, people. A year? Like, what's going on? I mean, do I need to go get my shovel as well?
Madam City Manager, do you have anything to say?
I would just continue to report your anger.
My anger? No, this is not anger yet. You just wait for that.
Madam Mayor, if I may. You seem to feel very strongly about this, and I commend you for that. If this is really such a big problem for you, I will give you, after this meeting, $20 to go out, buy some asphalt, and fill those potholes yourself, sir.
So me, as a citizen, standing here in front of you, with the hired people that you have in your departments, you're telling me you're going to give me $20 to go out there, buy some asphalt, and get my shovel and get to work.
The government is made up of citizens, sir.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Please.
I'm so sorry for
Thank you for your sympathy. Oh
your
my goodness,
comments.
thank you.
I will directly report this issue to our
Before or after I get my $20?
before, preferably.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I'll make sure that it gets taken care of as soon as possible.
And thank you.
Personally.
Thank you. You know, great people sit in that chair, so
Madam Mayor, if I
I
may.
greatly appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, if I may. I just have a question. Are these potholes like you can't like swerve around? Or
Let me, do you
are
want
they
me,
all in like a?
do you want me to knock out a few pedestrians?
Are they also, have there been any cases of where have anybody gotten a flat tire?
Well, I'm just waiting for that one to happen so I get another $20 from Councilmember Blackburn over here, but we're just waiting on that. And the primary focus is, I live in Random Hills, which is in the Washington neighborhood community for 17 Strong. And Hermay Hill, I don't know if any of you live up there, but Hermay Hill, God bless it. It's awful. Potholes everywhere, and they have done so much construction. Well, they've tried, but they keep coming back. The issue is still there, and it needs to be fixed right away because, as you can tell, I'm not happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who hasn't signed in have any questions they'd like to ask?
Only if you fix it yourself.
Well then, if no one else has any questions, let's move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the table?
I move that, with the exception of the items so noticed, council receives the reports of the consent agenda and concur in their recommendations.
I second.
Miss City Clerk, would you please take a voice vote? Or
That is a motion by you guys up there for the voice vote. It is a motion by the council to start new legislation. That's what the voice vote is for.
now we will move on to the new legislation.
You need to do a voice vote for that. You need two people to do a voice vote to start the new legislation.
I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
I second.
Miss City Clerk, would you please read the first ordinance?
An ordinance establishing a new division of the Parks and Recreation Department focusing exclusively on the eradication of invasive species. Proposal by Council Member Carly Fields.
Is there,
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
I second.
would you please read a second time?
We should do a roll call. Reese,
Yes.
Mbani,
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Motion adopted 7-0. An ordinance establishing a new division of the Parks and Recreation Department focusing exclusively on the eradication of invasive species. Proposal by Council Member Carly Fields. Apologies.
Would you like to say?
I motion that the ordinance be adopted.
I second.
Okay. At this time, would you like to say a few words, Councilmember Fields?
Invasive species are a hazard to any community. In Ohio, there are many invasive animals, such as the emerald ash burrow, the Asian longhorned beetle, and the European gypsy moth, and invasive plants such as honeysuckle, pear trees, and garlic mustard. All the things I just listed can be found in and around the city of Hamilton. To help solve this problem, I've proposed a new division of the Parks and Recreation Department. This new division would help and focus exclusively on eradicating invasive species in and around the city of Hamilton.
Any questions for Councilmember Fields?
Madam Mayor, I have a question. So are there any invasive species where there are mammals?
They're not that I know of right now. in
Okay,
Hamilton,
so what
but
kind of, not plants, but animals would you want to get rid of?
things such as the emerald ash burrow are destroying oak trees and ash trees.
Are those birds?
Those are insects.
Insects? How do you plan on, are you planning on killing them or?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, do you have any idea, the cost of this program? Would it add more to the city's budget, or would it cost roughly the same as it is?
I believe it will cost more money to set up a new division and hire new people, but people can also volunteer to help eradicate the problem.
Any questions from the audience? You may come to the podium and ask at this time. Oh, if there aren't any, Ms. City Clerk, would you do the roll call? Yes.
Mbani,
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 7-0.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next piece of legislation. Ms. City Clerk, would you read the next ordinance?
An ordinance adding recycling bins next to every trash can in Hamilton's downtown area. Proposal by Council Member Sarah Herndon.
Is there a motion for it to be read a second time?
I move that the rules be suspended and the said ordinance be read a second time.
I second.
Ms. City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Reese,
Yes.
Mbani,
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Motion adopted 7-0. An ordinance adding recycling bins next to every trash can in Hamilton's downtown area. Proposal by Council Member Sarah Herndon.
I move that the ordinance be adopted.
I second.
Councilmember Herndon, would you?
Okay. So if you walk down the streets of downtown Hamilton, you'll see that there are no recycling bins out for public use, and I think that should be fixed. So my ordinance would be placing recycling bins next to every single trash can in downtown Hamilton for public use. One factor inhibiting citizens from recycling would be lack of convenience. And my ordinance would eliminate this factor and allow Hamilton to promote a healthy environment and cleaner streets. Expenses would include purchasing these bins. Prices will vary depending on the style. For example, there could be ones that sort these recyclable items, or that could be done after the fact. Grants are available from Butler County to fund these and support this new recycling program. And so, overall, these recycling bins will promote a healthier environment and conveniently allow citizens of Hamilton to decrease the amount of waste piling into our landfills.
Any questions from council?
Madam Mayor.
So are there going to be separate recycling bins for like plastic or paper, or is it all just going to be one?
If the city of Hamilton chooses to purchase those types of bins, then yes, those will be available, but that could also be done after the fact, and it could all just go into one big bin.
Any questions from the audience about Councilmember Hendren's ordinance? Okay. Madam City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Reese,
Yes.
Mbani?
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 7-0.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Madam City Clerk, would you please read the next ordinance?
An ordinance regulating the use of low-speed vehicles, including the motorized golf carts on city streets, proposal by Councilmember Brooke Barney.
Is there a motion for it to be read a second time?
I motion that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
I second.
An ordinance regulating the, roll call. Reese,
Yes.
Mbani?
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Motion adopted 7-0. Ordinance regulating the use of low-speed vehicles, including motorized golf carts on city streets. Proposal by Councilmember Brooke Barney.
Councilmember Barney, would you like to say a few words?
So essentially what this ordinance would do is allow for the use of golf carts on city streets. These golf carts would have to pass a series of inspections where they would have to have working headlights, taillights, mirrors, seatbelts, and things like that to make sure that they're street safe. There would also be a speed limit of 20 to 25 miles per hour. This wouldn't cost the city anything to pass this legislation, and the inspections could actually bring in a small source of revenue to cover any legal fees or any personnel fees. So I think that this would be a good idea for Hamilton because we have a long-established and well-established reputation of environmental friendliness in our town, and these motorized golf carts are no emission since they're electric, and so they provide for a environmentally friendly alternate mode of transportation. And I also think it would be a good idea in our city because with the renaissance that's going on right now and the new Spooky Nook sports complex that's being built, I think that we'll see a drastic increase in the number of people that are coming to our city for the weekend for a conference or for a tournament, things of that nature. And this type of golf cart usage is seen in cities that have a lot of temporary visitors like that, and so it would be convenient for them to maybe as an option with their stay in their hotel to have the option to rent a golf cart, and you can go to a restaurant and then to your game or your conference, whatever you're doing, and then maybe to Brewworks and then maybe back to your hotel. I just think that would be convenient, and it's environmentally friendly and safe and low cost. And in addition to that, I think that it would be a good idea or a cool idea to extend the railroad tracks that are currently being turned into a bike path to make it wide enough for these golf carts to go on those paths. And that would just connect our city and make it pretty cool.
Any questions from the council?
Madam Mayor, I have a question. Would there be roads and streets that golf carts would not be allowed on?
Yes, you can incorporate in this legislation certain roads if we propose that there might be an issue, like if there's like Main Street, for example. But it's standard that the usage of golf carts would only be on 35 miles per hour or lower roads, but then you can exclude any ones that you feel necessary.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. Just to clarify, these golf carts are the use of them would be on regular roads with regular cars?
Yeah, it would be like kind of similar but less dangerous, as you know how it's legal for someone on a bike to ride on those kind of roads. It would be similar to that.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. So you said that it would be on the roads, 35 miles or slower roads, and they go maximum of 25. So currently, in its current form, would passing this allow them to go on any road currently in the city of Hamilton?
Yeah, without any further regulations, it would be on any 35 mile per hour.
So that would include Main Street, correct?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. You mentioned that people could go to Brew Works, drink some alcohol, and then use that golf cart to drive back to either their hotel or their house. Is that not driving under the influence?
I would definitely recommend that you not drive a golf cart under the influence. It would be similar like law enforcement for, like it would be the same for vehicles and.
So people can get pulled over?
No. Well, you can, yes, but you should not drive under the influence.
Okay, wonderful.
Madam Mayor, I have another question. If it is not restricted on busy streets, how bad would traffic be a problem during rush hour?
Well, I can't really predict how bad it would be, but like if you can write in the legislation the restrictions that we might see as a problem on certain streets.
Any other questions from the council? Does anyone from the audience have any questions for Councilmember Barney? In that case, City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Reese?
Yes.
Mbani?
Yes.
Blackburn?
No.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
No.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 5-2.
In that case, let's move on to the next ordinance. Would you please read?
An ordinance establishing cybersecurity updating procedures at all municipal facilities to discourage the potential threat of cyber attacks. Proposal by Mayor Jessica Reese.
I would have a motion to read it a second time.
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
I second.
City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Reese?
Yes.
Mbani?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
Yes.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
Yes.
Motion adopted 7-0. An ordinance establishing cybersecurity updating procedures at all municipal facilities to discourage the potential threat of cyber attacks. Proposal by Mayor Jessica Reese.
I move that that the ordinance be adopted.
I second.
In that case, I propose that, well, with as many cyber warfare attacks or just cyber attacks in general that have been heard over the news or just happening in different governments at different levels, that any facilities in the Hamilton area and are facilitated by Hamilton have an update that makes sure that no outside force can through computer and cyber means attack the city of Hamilton. Any questions?
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
So, regarding the updating the security or just the whole cybersecurity in general, I know that when we discussed this before that the dam was brought up, but that's under the Department of Homeland Security. My question is, what do you believe that the city of Hamilton has in here that it is able to protect with cybersecurity that is worth the effort of foreign governments to involve themselves in?
Well, the hydroelectric dam is controlled autonomously, and it gives the city power. Well, potentially if the power goes out and the hydroelectric goes down, hospitals can be in jeopardy, and it could potentially cause chaos and major problems from a power outage.
But isn't the dam under the jurisdiction of the Department of Homeland Security?
But I believe the city of Hamilton still pays for it to be run and maintained. So.
Madam Mayor, I think what she was just trying to say was that although the federal bureaucracy does have some jurisdiction over the dam and its control, that the city of Hamilton still can put in other measures to protect our utilities.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. About how much do you think it'll cost to update all the procedures at all the municipal facilities?
I'm not 100% sure at this time, but I don't think it would be too much out of the budget, and it'd be money well used for safety of citizens. Any other questions from the council? Or does the audience have any questions? Madam City Clerk, would you do the roll call then? Yes.
And Bonnie?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
No.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
No.
Ordinance adopted 5-2.
Thank you. Would you move on to the next one? Please read.
An ordinance establishing sidewalks to be constructed on Hancock Avenue focusing around Crawford Woods Elementary and Crawford Woods Park, as well as a crosswalk between the school and the park. Proposal by Vice Mayor Darcy Ambani.
Anyone motion for second reading?
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance should be read a second time.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Reese?
Yes.
Ambani?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
Yes.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
Yes.
Motion adopted 7-0. An ordinance establishing sidewalks to be constructed on Hancock Avenue focusing around Crawford Woods Elementary and Crawford Woods Park, as well as a crosswalk between the school and the park. Proposal by Vice Mayor Darcy Ambani.
I move that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
In that case, would you like to say a few words?
Okay, so Crawford Woods opened in 2010, and so I attended Crawford Woods from 4th through 6th grade, and every year we go across the street to the park for an end of the year celebration. But the thing is, it's really dangerous to cross the street and go there because there aren't any sidewalks or crosswalks, and Hancock Avenue is a really, really busy street. So the fact that there aren't any crosswalks or sidewalks and that there's a school and a park, a place where kids are extremely active, just brought to my attention that it's a really dangerous place. Like, I'm driving there at night and these kids just pop out of nowhere, and I'm scared to hit them because they're not walking like on a sidewalk. That's why I'm proposing there to be sidewalks and crosswalks. So for the crosswalk, it would be between this Crawford Woods Elementary and Crawford Woods Park, and there would be crosswalks or cross guards there, and there would also be signs, like LED signs there, so that drivers at night can see the crosswalk and pay attention to kids there. And for the sidewalks, there's Parrish Avenue is north, and then Hensley Avenue is like south of Crawford Woods, so the sidewalk would be connecting the two streets so that children from both sides can go to school safely. And on the side of the park, the sidewalks would connect. There's like a little strip a sidewalk on Hancock Avenue, and it would just continue throughout the park.
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? You're more than welcome to go up to the podium and ask questions for it. In that case, Madam City Clerk, please do the roll call. Yes.
Mbani?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
Yes.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 7-0.
Then let's move on to the next ordinance, and would you please read?
A resolution recommending a city partnership with local social service agencies to install blessing boxes around the city for use by local residents struggling to provide the basics for themselves and their families. Proposal by Council Member Abby Matthias.
I move that the legislation be adopted.
I second.
In that case, would you like to say a few words?
All right. So not many of you know what blessing boxes are, so I'm going to explain them to you. But first, can I get a raised hand? How many have you seen a person experiencing homelessness in Hamilton? Please raise your hand. Okay, great. Now, could you also raise your hand? How many of you have had a nice conversation with them? Not just like, hi, how you doing? But like a nice, like, get to know you conversation. Please raise your hand. That's what I thought. So, blessing boxes, what they are is they're essentially like large mailboxes, and we would put in canned foods, non-perishable goods, and especially toiletries, because I've been out there and I've handed out food and toiletries to them, and I've like spoke to them, and they're like wonderful people. Not a lot of the women, especially, have feminine products for like that time of the month, and that's an essential part of our lives. So not many of them have that access, and it can be really expensive. And especially if families have a couple kids, it's hard to provide all those basic needs. So what these blessing boxes would do is we'd put these blessing boxes around places where we know where there are homeless camps. And we would put, like I said, toiletries and the basic necessities, and those people could go in and take some of it. It's like a take what you need, give what you can. And every once a week, one person from either Hamilton High or Baden would go in and make sure that the box is full. And to have money for this, I'd love to do fundraisers at Baden and also Hamilton High, so we can include both high schools and create a more a better community between us. So I just believe that this would really help those people who are experiencing homelessness to feel like their community cares about them and that we're here for them. So
I'd like to take any questions from the council first.
Madam Mayor, how many homeless camps are in Hamilton?
I don't know the exact number, but I know there's one behind Valley Thrift on that road. I think it's called Route 4, right? Okay, Route 4. And then I know there are a couple in motels. Those people do have to pay to live in those motels, but it's a really high price because the people who own those hotels jack up the prices, which I think is very wrong. But they still, even though they do have a place to live, they still don't have the basic needs that they need. So I don't know the exact number, but I know there are a lot.
Any other questions from the council? In that case, I move to citizens and state your name and ask your question.
Shelby Ernst. I'm all for these blessing boxes. I think it's a great idea, but how would you regulate what is being put into the boxes, and if some people are taking advantage of it? Because I know there's a lot of people that need it, but I'm sure there's others that don't need it that are just taking it selfishly.
Yeah, you have a good point on that. To regulate what's in it, we're just going to have 1 or 2 people go to those blessing boxes once or twice a week to make sure that it's full, and if it's not, just go to the grocery store and buy a couple things. And like I said, we can get donations from both schools. But with the problem about taking stuff, we can't really regulate that because we can't put a lock. Like, it wouldn't be right to put a lock on it at night because maybe someone would need something at night. And they wouldn't be able to get it. So we just have to trust the community. There are bad people in the world, we all know that, but we have to just trust that the box is being used for good.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Isabel Monifo. My question for you would be, how would you get community involvement in this great initiative you have right now? How would you ensure that they would be willing to cooperate and willing to help out, and that there wouldn't be boxes left empty overnight or for weeks, or that it would lose interest and slowly go downhill?
Well, I plan on heading this operation, so if nobody is, like, I would be, like, going every single week, but I was thinking of doing, like, kind of like a sign-up sheet, kind of, like you sign up to go that week, and that's your week, kind of. But, like, the community involvement, like I said, I do want to involve Hamilton High, so we could have 1 person from Baden and 1 person from Hamilton go each week. So you'd get to know, like, 1 person from Hamilton. Does that answer your question?
Yes. My other question for you would be, how would this be paid for? Would it be out of pocket of the citizens and of the people who are signing up, or would it be through a fundraiser of sorts, or given by the city?
So like I said, I plan on having fundraisers at Baden especially, but also at Hamilton High if Hamilton is willing to like partner with us. But there will so that fundraiser would be for like actually building the boxes, but also we could have like drives every so often, so like food drives like we do at Baden, and Hamilton can have food drives too, and we can collect all those and put them in the boxes. And then I am willing to take it out of my own pocket. I don't know about everybody else, but like I really care about these people, so I would be like, if there wasn't any money, I would be willing to go to the grocery store myself and buy some stuff.
Thank you.
Hi, Anna Bevilacqua. How are you going to make sure that this isn't just another way for people to get drugs and deal them? Like putting them in the boxes for other people to get them?
So, what do you mean by like just put drugs in the boxes?
Yeah, like you could say like, I'm leaving them in this blessing box for you.
Well, like I said, there are bad people in the world, and there are people who use drugs. But I just want to clarify, there is a small majority of people who are experiencing homelessness that do actually deal drugs. So I feel like that's a stigma on them. But like I said, there's not a lot. Like, we have to just trust that nobody would put in bad things. But I mean, we can't stop it, except just going there once or twice a week to make sure that the box has what it needs in it.
My name is Joseph Albinus, and I was just wondering if anyone would check over the donated materials to make sure that nothing harmful is being put in. Like, say, if someone put in clothing to the blessing box, make sure that it's not infested with lice or anything when they put it into the blessing box.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel Sutton. I don't really have a question, but I wanted to make sure that these blessing boxes are put at our schools, because there are a lot of elementary school students or middle school and even high school students that are experiencing homelessness, and because they're only students, they might not be able to roam through the city looking for these boxes. So if they could be posted in obvious places and in the schools, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah.
As that's our final question, I'd like to do the roll call.
Reese,
Yes.
Mbani,
Yes.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 7-0.
In that case, let's move on to the next one. Please read the ordinance.
A resolution replacing the current City of Hamilton, Ohio flag with a new proposed design, proposal by Council Member Todd Blackburn.
I move that the legislation be adopted.
I second.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Madam Mayor. In its current state, the flag of the city of Hamilton is rather poorly designed and is not a very good source of civic pride. It looks rather immature. It's not a very inspiring flag, as you can see. However, with this new flag, it's a hope that it will be more recognizable and be a better source for the community to rally around. The colors were carefully decided upon. The gold represents the city's namesake of Alexander Hamilton. The blue represents the Great Miami River. The white represents the future of the city, and the green represents the current status of the city.
Any questions from the council for Mr. Blackburn?
Madam Mayor, why does green represent Hamilton?
Green represents Hamilton because, as you can see up there, the blue, green, and white, they all sort of mix together to make that shade of green. And it's sort of symbolic of how we are more than just the sum of our parts, because sure, we have a bright future ahead, sure, we have the Great Miami, and we have our name, but the community itself is unique and represents all these things I just listed and more.
Any other questions from the council? Does the audience have any questions?
I'm just curious, the icon you're using is a county building, and why wouldn't you use a city building or some type of a logo to represent the city versus using a county logo?
It's on the current flag and it's on all of our current city paperwork.
If there's no more questions, never mind.
Hello, Tanner Hamblin again. Not quite sure what was wrong with the first flag here. What was the purpose behind recreating a design?
Look
I mean,
at that
the
flag.
beauty in that.
Look at that flag, sir.
I see beauty. I see
Now
potential.
tell me honestly that does not look like it was done by a sixth grader. Look me in the eye and tell me it does not look like it was done by a sixth grader.
I think whoever made the flag may be in the room right now, and you might want to change that
No.
attitude. So the sixth grader look is just not good for you. Is that correct?
We are a city of more than sixth graders. Flags are a symbol for communities to rally around, and several other cities such as Cincinnati, Chicago have very well-designed flags that they use in many city functions. And this city should be no exception to that. We should have a nice flag that we can use in city functions and that we can be proud to show off.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Madam Mayor, if we change our flag, do we have to change the symbol on all of our government, like cars or things that have the symbol on it?
We do not, because the flag is more for the flagpole and for city functions. The current logos that we have on the city vehicles shouldn't be affected.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. Why did you choose not to have any wording on the flag?
There's a complex answer to that, but the very short answer is that flags, well-designed flags, should be recognizable from a long distance, and words are very hard to make out on a piece of fabric fluttering in the breeze from a far distance.
Well, if there's no more questions, Madam City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Reese,
Yes.
Mbani,
No.
Blackburn,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
No.
Matthias.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 5-2.
Thank you. And would you, Madam City Clerk, would you please read the next ordinance?
A resolution proposing that the City of Hamilton, Ohio establishes a Movies in Markham community building event. Proposal by City Manager Allison Sharp.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, so over the past 5 years, Hamilton has really been coming into its namesake and what it was built on, with a lot of new restaurants and businesses coming into the city, creating a nightlife scene in our downtown. We have community initiatives like Alive After 5, Operation Pumpkin, the River's Edge concert series, and I think that a great way to continue to develop our sense of community is to propose a Movies in Markham community building event, which would basically consist of a free bi-weekly movie screening every Saturday night during the summer. And like the River's Edge concert series, which also runs through the summer months, it would take place in Markham Park, as it says. The movie screenings would follow a similar system as a drive-in movie theater, where a G or a PG rated movie would play first in the earlier evening, and then afterwards it would be followed by a PG-13 or more mature movie afterwards, so that all ages can watch something and have a good night. As far as the funding for this, even though it isn't a very costly project in the first place, reaching out to the Hamilton Community Foundation and sponsors in the community is always an option. And although the city wouldn't be making any profit off of this movie series, since it is a free event, the income generated by food trucks, vendors, and shopping and dining in downtown Hamilton that people will undoubtedly indulge in during their time at Markham Park will continue to bring economic potential to the city.
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? Oh, okay.
Who's up there first? Shelby Kinnan. I was just wondering what type of security measures would be in place?
Yes, so we would have to get some police officers from the city of Hamilton around the venue as they do with River's Edge, so something similar to that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jackie Lugan. Would it be movies that are still showing in theaters, like how they do at the Holiday Inn drive-in, or would it be more like movies like that are already been released on DVD and stuff like that?
I think it can definitely be a mixture of those. I'm not sure the exact like licensing of when you can play those movies if it's not in like an actual movie theater, but we could definitely look into playing some current movies and also ones that have already came out.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Yes. Reese?
Yes.
And Bonnie?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Fields?
Yes.
Herndon?
Yes.
Matthias?
Yes.
Resolution adopted 7-0.
Thank you. And that is the end of our new legislation. We will now move on to our audience of the city manager. City Manager Sharp.
So, as we heard in the school board meeting, Baden High School, their football team, has a playoff game this Friday against Alter. So everyone make sure to go to Middletown and support them. The Hamilton High School Marching Band is currently on their way to Grand Nationals in Indianapolis, where they'll compete against 104 other teams. So everyone wish them luck for that today. That's all I have.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll have an audience with the city council. Any council members have anything to say?
I'd like to say that the Baden Canned Food Drive has started, and it will be going on for the next 2 weeks. So any Baden students, bring in your canned goods.
I would like to say that our Hamilton High School's National Honor Society is having a blood drive in the next couple weeks. And also, our school, Hamilton High School's Junior State of America, is attending their first convention this week in Fall State at the Ohio State House.
I would like to say for seniors at Baden, if you didn't get the email from Allie, there's our first canned food drive is Sunday from 12 to 4, and we're going to meet at Baden, and we're going to go walk across the street to that neighborhood. So make sure you come. Spirit points. Come on. I want to win.
As for the city of Hamilton, there's a local ballet company in downtown Hamilton in the old Elder Bierman building, and they're performing the Nutcracker, and tickets are available on the Fairfield Community Arts website.
I would like to just thank everyone for coming out and doing this. I would like to thank my fellow council members for doing this. I would like to thank the workers in the government of the city of Hamilton for having us, and I would like to thank everyone for keeping this a very civil and respectful conversations tonight.
With that, we will now bring this regular city council meeting to an end. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second.
Madam City Clerk, would you do a final roll call?
Reese,
Yes.
and Bonnie,
Yes.
Blackburn,
No.
Barney,
Yes.
Fields,
Yes.
Herndon,
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes.
Motion adopted 6-1.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2018 Civics Day. And before we get started, I would like to recognize all the veterans out there. If you're a veteran, could you please raise your hand? Thank you for your service to our country, and I hope you have a great Veterans Day here on Sunday. Okay, my name is Dan Sander. I am the president of the Lindenwald Kiwanis of Hamilton Fairfield, and on behalf of Rotary, I'd like to welcome everyone here today. And when we get started, Kim Monifo will lead us in our pledge.
Good afternoon. To be involved in Civics Day is to be both honored and humbled simultaneously. Let me share an analogy. My 9-year-old came excitedly bounding over to me the other night and said, Mom, I'm in the Christmas production at my school. I was like, wow, that's great, good job. Yeah, I was probably chosen because I'm so loud. She clearly felt both honored and yet humbled at the same time. And in a similar fashion, to serve others, whether it be through civic or military duty, is an honor, and yet the responsibility of it is very humbling. Let us bow our heads. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be both honored at being civically involved and yet humbled by its responsibility. As Veterans Day approaches this Sunday, we are called to reflect on the sacrifices so many have made, and we ask you, Lord, to please protect those who currently serve our country and bring the comfort of your grace to their families. We pray that through our involvement and humility that we may come to know your grace and wisdom more, so that we may better serve others. In your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Kim. And to get things started, I would like to introduce Mayor Pat Moeller, and he will lead us through our ceremonies today.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I want to start off first, if we could, with a moment of silence for those who have passed away from senseless gun violence, including last night in California, as well as the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. A moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. It's going to be people like these young people and their generation who are going to help improve that senseless gun violence situation. Civics Day. A lot of these students went on some tours, got involved with being on the school board, got involved with being on city council, and they all did a great job. I want to do some thanks first because there's some folks who really got this thing going and kept it going. Nick Garukas, our city clerk, was a true city leader in getting this done. Of course, Joni Kopis, Elizabeth Wagner, Steve Braun from Hamilton High School, Josh Mears, and Patrick Keating from Baden High School. And Patrick Keating was recognized by Baden students when they had their Civics Day proclamation for a teacher of their choice. All right. I am going to, of course, I want to thank TV Hamilton and the Hamilton Journal News, the Journal News, for covering today's school board meeting, covering the city council meeting, as well as being here during this luncheon. All right, I'm going to say the student's name. When I say your name, stand up with your counterpart, turn to the camera over here to my left, say hi mom, hi dad, whatever you want to do, because it's going to be taped and played on TV Hamilton and be on YouTube and be in the airwaves forever. Okay, my counterpart, Jessica Reese, she did a really great job as mayor, and her aspirations, first off, she's a Baden High School student. Her aspirations are to go to the University of Cincinnati and be involved with the engineering program. She's interested in electronics, electrical engineering, and just a very, very smart young lady. I'm going to read to you her ordinance that she wished to be passed, an ordinance establishing cybersecurity updating procedures at all municipal facilities to discourage the potential threat of cyber attacks. That's a smart young lady. Thank you, Mayor Reese, for doing such a great job. When I heard that she was going to do that, cybersecurity, but that was a cartoon superhero, but I did learn so much about cybersecurity from this young lady here. City Manager Joshua Smith was represented by Allison Sharp. Allison Sharp goes to Hamilton High School, interested in going to Cornell University, and I think I overheard Vanderbilt, majoring in political science. And Allison was also involved working for the city here a few months, and she did a great job working for the city. Now, Allison had a resolution proposing that the city of Hamilton, Ohio, establish a Movies at Markham Park community building event. So Movies at Markham Park, she obviously knows what kind of gem we have there. Great job, Allison. Great idea for your resolution. Now, we have next Vice Mayor. I'm not sure if Michael Ryan is here or not today, but our Vice Mayor from Civics Day was Darshi Ambani, and she is standing. And she's a Hamilton High School student, which is to go to American University and major in political science. And she also had a resolution or an ordinance at our city council meeting. And let's see what hers happened to be. Okay, hers was an ordinance establishing sidewalks to be constructed on Hancock Avenue, focusing around Crawford Woods Elementary and Crawford Woods Park, as well as a crosswalk between the school and the park. I didn't know this, but Darshi attended Crawford Woods Elementary School, saw this as a particular problem. Now, as a driver, she sees it as a particular problem. So thank you, Darshi, for that great idea. And it's another example of what our Civics Day students are coming up with to help improve our city. Thank you, Darshi, very much. Okay. Brooke Barney is next, Hamilton High School student. And she was acting as Councilmember Tim Knabb. If anybody can act as Councilmember Tim Knabb. Tim, please stand. I mean that as a friendly thing, Tim. Yes, sir. Brooke, Hamilton High School, The Ohio State University, majoring possibly in engineering and architecture. And she also had a very good ordinance. You're going to like this one. An ordinance regulating the use of low-speed vehicles, including motorized golf carts on city streets. Now, think about Spooky Nook developing. Think about also the use of scooters on city streets. It's a great idea. Time to talk about it now. So another very good ordinance, Brooke. Thank you for being with us. Okay. Councilmember Robert Brown, I'm not sure if he's here today, but Sarah Herndon from Hamilton High School. Okay, Sarah. Sarah wants to go to The Ohio State University, major in anthropology, and her particular council suggestion was an ordinance adding recycling bins next to every trash can in Hamilton's downtown area. So that can be done. It's a great idea, especially if we have groups adopt these various recycling bins. It could be done at hopefully minimal cost. But great job, Sarah, and thank you for being involved in the Civic Day. And she's a Hamilton High School student. Carla Fear, Councilmember Carla Fear, today was represented by Todd Blackburn. Okay, now let's talk about Todd's here for a second. All of these had some really, really good conversation amongst the council members and amongst the audience. I want to make sure I read this the right way. Okay. A resolution replacing the current City of Hamilton, Ohio flag with a new proposed design. And it generated a lot of discussion, and I want to kind of describe the flag that he had in mind. It had white for the future of Hamilton. It had blue for the river. It had gold representing Alexander Hamilton, and it had our monument in the middle in the same green color. But it was shown to the Civics Day students and those of us who were there, and he had some good ideas, and he kind of told us why we should get a new flag. But Todd's a Baden High School student, and his aspirations are going to the United States Navy. So thank you, Todd, for the idea, and thank you for joining the Navy. City Councilmember Matt Von Stein, I don't believe he is here today, but Carly Fields is here, who was his counterpart. Carly goes to Baden High School. At this point in time, she's undecided as far as her college, but she wants to go into history and political science. And her idea, I'm sure if Dave Yenman was here, he would like it. He's our city arborist, but I think he would like your idea, Carly. And her idea was an ordinance establishing a new parks division focusing exclusively on the eradication of invasive species. That could be bugs, it could be honeysuckle, it could be almost anything, but a very good idea, Carly. Thank you very much. Okay, next, Abby Mathias. Counterpart is Councilmember Kathy Klink. Abby goes to Baden High School, and she gave the prayer today at the meeting, and it was the Irish blessing, so that was just a really neat thing to have as our prayer at our city council meeting. Abby, Baden High School, University of Kentucky, into a pre-vet program there. Now, her particular resolution ordinance was, here it is. And this one also had a lot of comment amongst the students who went to the podium and asked questions to Abby. It's a resolution recommending a city partnership with local social service agencies to install blessing boxes around the city for use by local residents struggling to provide the basics for themselves and their families. So that did draw a lot of comment, discussion, and it was a very positive discussion. Thank you, Abby, for bringing your idea to our attention and it being a partnership, because the city does really well with partnerships. Thank you very much, Abby. Okay, city clerk. We had two city clerks who were under the tutelage of Nick Garukas and Megan Gary from Hamilton High School. Megan did a great job. Mark Bruger from Baden High School. So Megan from Hamilton High and Mark from Baden. Megan, undecided, mathematics possibly. Mark, Xavier University, interested in history. So thank you very much for doing really great jobs of keeping the meeting running appropriately, and good job. And again, thank you, Nick, for your leadership in this Civics Day, because you did a great job. Okay, Fire Department, Mark Mercer, the chief. I'm not sure if he is here. We have Ken Runyon, which is okay. Okay, Ken, stand up. I'm not sure. We got our students here. Brittany Overby. Brittany, Hamilton High School, undecided at this point in time as far as her major in college. Tori Jarvis, Baden High School. Kent State University, fashion design. Lindsay Bacallo, and if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Is that okay? Okay, Lindsay, Baden High School, University of New Hampshire in speech pathology. So great job, and I'm sure you found it interesting working with the fire department. Police Department, I believe, of course, we have Craig Buchheit, our chief, here with us. Colleen Schindler, if she is here. Colleen, Baden High School student, Eastern Kentucky University, forensic psychology. So that's a great field to be in and very interesting in relationship with the police. So thank you very much. And thank you, Chief, for tutelage of the student there. Okay. Next, we have Municipal Court. Judge Gademeyer is here and standing, which is good. He's just had surgery. And Judge, we visited your court today, all the students did, and it went very, very well. I want to introduce the judges. Jaden Hendershot, Hamilton High School, University of Cincinnati Nursing. Shelby Ernst, Baden High School, University of Dayton or Xavier in graphic design. And Andrew Jones, Baden High School, undecided finance and political science. So you had 3 people observing your court today, and I think that they were impressed, and they all learned something from court today. So thank you very much, Judge, for letting this go into your courtroom. I want to mention, though, Judge, that we let 2 lawyers talk, including one, Jim Cooney. He talked to all the students, and that's always interesting when Jim Cooney talks. If you know Jim Cooney, great guy, former council member. Tim Dearling from our prosecutor spoke. And of course, Acting Judge Harry Zorno spoke. But it was a very interesting time. We spent about a half hour or so in there. Okay, Ken Rivera was represented today by Shelby Kinnan, Hamilton High School. I'm not sure if Ken is here, but Shelby is definitely here. Shelby, thank you very much for participating in Civics Day. Economic Development, of course, we all know who that is. Jody Gunnarsson is our director. And Ashley Parker was shadowing Jody. Ashley's Hamilton High School. Parker Ashley. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I was going to catch that in maybe about half an hour, but it does say Ashley Parker. Parker Ashley, I am sorry. I apologize. Parker did a great job as economic development, and I do apologize to him for messing up his name. But he's undecided, which is going to marketing, which is really good because marketing is important for economic development. Director of Engineering, Rich Engel. Rich is here. His counterparts, John Berg, Baden High School, Notre Dame, International Relations, and Joseph Albanus, Hamilton High School, undecided, Civil Engineering. I want to mention Joseph has a project that's currently at our Riverside Natural Area that he put together in scouting. So thank you very much, Joseph, for that. And these could be 2 people possibly working for Public Works and Engineering one of these days. Department of Finance, David Jones. Is David here or is David working? Oh, 2 people to replace David Jones is an amazing concept. But we do have 2 people here from our finance department. The student, Olivia Lowry, Hamilton High School, undecided, business or communications. Okay, Arena. Jana Kievsky. Pretty good. Did I get that right? Okay, thank you. Baden High School, Miami University, Early Childhood Education. And A.J. Holler, Baden High School, undecided as far as college and major at this time. So thank all of you for showing your interest in the Department of Finance. Department of Health, Kay Farrar. I'm not sure who we have here from the Department of Health, but we have 3 students. Mary Saborin, and hopefully I pronounced your name okay, Baden High School, Xavier University, Environmental Science. Brady Rolfus, Baden High School, University of Kentucky, Physical Therapy. And Isabel Manafo, Baden High School, Xavier University, or possibly Ohio State, Art and Psychology. And of course, Isabella's mother's here. She led us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. Isabel does know a lot about already being an ambassador for Hamilton because she's already talking up Hamilton down at Xavier University. So thank all of you for being interested in the health department here. Department of Human Resources. Letitia Block, director. I'm not sure if Letitia is here, but Letitia's here. And she made 40 under 40 this year, recognized by the region for being such a dynamic leader of the 40 under 40 group. Now, Toy Din. Okay. How do you pronounce your name? Thank you. I'll have to work on that one for a while longer. Hamilton High School, undecided, but dental hygiene. Sean Martin, Baden High School, Xavier University, Management Information Systems. Thank you, Letitia, for working with those students. Liz Hayden, Department of Planning is our director. Liz is here. Chloe Kilgus, Hamilton High School, undecided at this time. Seth Hargis, Baden High School, also currently undecided, but media, journalism, and film. Great. Thank you for participating. Public Safety Director, Scott Scramese is our director. Amanda Maritas, tell me it's Maritas. Aritz, I apologize. The Ohio State University in mathematics. So thank you, Scott, for letting her shadow. Department of Public Works, Jim Williams. There's no name under you at this point in time, Jim, so thank you for just being Jim Williams. Purchasing agent, John Hoskinson. Is John here or somebody from purchasing? Well, the finance guys are here. We have down Sean Osborne. Is Sean here today? Okay, Sean's Baden High School, University of Michigan, Finance and Accounting. Thank you, Sean. Ohio State's got a good program, too. As an Ohio State grad, I guess I can say that. Okay, Department of Strategy and Information. Brandon Sarber. Brandon, I know, is here. Michael McFarland. Hamilton High School. It's Michael. I've got down United States Military Academy in engineering, so he's not here, but I just want to thank him for choosing a military academy. Nick Young, Baden High School, undecided, finance and computer science. So Nick is here. Say hi to TV Hamilton over there. So just want to thank Michael and, of course, Todd for choosing the military. It is a career decision, and I hope they both succeed. Superintendent of the Streets, Scott Hoover. Scott here? Scott is here. Marissa Sloan. I'm not sure if Marissa is here. They were involved in the Superintendent of the Streets program, so we thank Scott and Marissa for being involved with Civics Day. Marissa's Hamilton High School, Miami University, University of Cincinnati. Thank you. Director of Utility Operations, I think we have Dan Motes. Is Dan Motes here, a representative from the utilities? Jackie Ramirez, Hamilton High School, University of Cincinnati, interested in going to the nursing. And Brian Henson, Baden High School, an electrical apprenticeship. So I want to thank the Utility Department, Dan, for working with these students. Manager of Water and Wastewater Operations, Dwight Culbertson. Not sure if Dwight is here, but we have Olivia Hudgens, Hamilton High School, University of Cincinnati, education. Thank you, Olivia, for choosing education. Hamilton Parks Conservancy. Man, you were popular, Steve. I've got 4 names underneath you, okay? Logan Tepe, Hamilton High School, Miami University, which is to go into biology. Emmy Hare, Baden High School, Miami University, pre-vet. Jackie Lugan? Jackie, Baden High School, Ohio University, interested in going to the humanities. And Bevilacqua, Baden High School, Appalachian State University, geology. So thank you, Steve, for your leadership, and thank you, students, for taking interest in our Parks Conservancy. Okay. We now go to the school board session, which was also very animated and very, very good, to say the least. And I want to read you their ideas, then I'll introduce you to them. Their ideas were, Baden High School should pave a new separate entrance off of Columbia Road to create a more manageable traffic flow for the school. It needs to be done ASAP, according to the students of Baden High School. Number 2, Hamilton High School should purchase white gowns for the top 20 seniors to wear at commencement so they get better recognition. Very nice idea. I'm surprised I got a cap and gown to begin with, but Hamilton High School and Baden High School, a lot of these have both the schools together, which is what I personally like to see. Hamilton High School and Baden High School should have a student spirit and involvement program to get more students to attend events and activities in the schools. The booster clubs could give gift cards, there could be spirit wear given away for those who go to the various events, the athletic activities, and the like at the schools. Another joint project was AP and CCP classes from Baden and Hamilton should work on projects together, which would benefit the cities and the city organizations, and to better collaborate with students from the other school. And an idea we discussed was biology classes being involved with Great Miami River projects. I thought that was just an excellent discussion about that. Another one was Hamilton High School should implement school safety badges for security. Another one was Hamilton High School should hire a designated community service coordinator. This one was popular with Patrick Keating. I'm going to read this one. Baden High School should implement Friday food trucks. Okay, now I think it's popular with everybody, if I'm not mistaken, but Patrick made sure he went to the podium and said, we need this now. So, for Mr. Keating's sake, let's get those Friday food trucks going to Baden High School. And Hamilton High School and Baden High School should showcase their talents of their students by having a joint art show at the Fitness Center for Creative Arts. Note to Ian, I think that'd be a really good idea. I think it'd cause a lot of excitement in the city. Another one, Hamilton High School seniors and Baden High School seniors should do a joint Spirit Olympics at one of the athletic fields or the gymnasiums in the city. Could take place at Spooky Nook possibly too, that's another idea. Schools in Hamilton City School District, another idea, should begin offering foreign language courses earlier, beginning at the elementary school level. Now it's a well thought out discussion for that one as well. Of course, we need to thank Principal John Wilhelm, Principal Brian Pendergrass, all the school board members, superintendents, and the school staffs of both schools for having this really neat Civics Day, as well as having a Board of Education meeting. Now let's meet those students who put together those ideas. School superintendent, of course, our school superintendent is Larry Knapp, who is here. Daniel Sutton from Hamilton High School. Okay, I'm going to read these off, Daniel. You're interested in Yale, Dartmouth, University of Chicago, international relations and Spanish, and he used a word that I need to look up, neuroplasticity. And he's got a great smile. He did a good job as superintendent. He fielded a lot of questions to answer. And Daniel, thank you very much for being involved in Civics Day. Okay, our school board president, I'm not sure if Steve Isgrove is here. Connor Robinson was his counterpart. Connor is a Hamilton High School student. University of Kentucky is his school of interest, psychology or business. Connor ran a very good meeting, too. He ran a very, very good meeting. Thank you. School board vice president was Eddie Kammerer. Eddie's Baden High School, interest in Ohio University in business administration and communication. And I forgot to mention Rob Weigel. How could I forget Rob Weigel? Thank you, Rob. You did a good job working with Eddie. Really, this school board did a great job, too, like the council did. And it was a great discussion going on. School board member Tom Alf, his counterpart was Tanner Hamlin. Is Tanner here? Okay. I've known Tanner for a long time. Got great parents. I think he was born with a staff report in his hand. He played a great role as angry man, mad about potholes in front of city council. But he's got a good point. There are a lot of potholes. We are working on it. Please use our 311 citizen service system. But Tanner's Tanner, and he's a fine young man. He's going to be a leader. He's definitely, like all, he's going to be a leader. Hamilton High School, The Ohio State University, nursing and pre-law. So, thank you. Adrian Drake, Baden High School. Okay, he did a great job. His counterpart, I'm not sure if Scott Kruger is here. Okay, well, then maybe Steve, you can stand up too. I don't know. No, just kidding. Adrian, Baden High School. He did a fine job as well. University of Toledo, bioengineering. Okay, next school board member, Lauren Sprague. And Lauren was matched with Simon Hopa. Hope I pronounced your name the right way. Okay. Baden High School, Purdue or Notre Dame, mechanical engineering. So great. School board treasurer, Robert Hancock. His counterpart was Emily Avery, Hamilton High School, undecided at this time, but wishes to go into psychology. And she did a great job as a treasurer and fielded all the questions that the school board members had. So, all right, thank you, Emily. Thank you, Robert. Did I leave anybody out? Any students who did not get recognized who were involved with Civics Day? How about a round of applause for all these students who really, really did a great job? Okay, I left my agenda down there, so I gotta get my agenda real quick. Good teamwork there. Okay, now you're gonna hear from the city mayor, the city manager, the school board president, and the school superintendent. Not all at the same time, but we're gonna hear from City Mayor Jessica Reese first. Jessica, come on up here and give us your address to for Civics Day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And also thank you to our Hamilton City Clerk, Nick Garkis. And I would also like to thank the Rotary Club for sponsoring this event, as well as Kiwanis, and thank you everyone for coming. Civics Day was interesting for me since I actually don't live in Hamilton. I live in Coleraine Township. So it was interesting to learn about the place where I go to school in and all the different individual places that...
I'm gonna put this down so it's a little bit more comfortable for I apologize, I should have done it before.
And, well, it's also interesting to learn more about the Lane Library, since I've heard people talk about going to the library and using its system, but never actually going there. And I've actually never been to Markham Park, which is right next door before this, and then went on a tour to see the hydroelectric dam, and actually gave me my idea about cybersecurity, since, well, I saw a YouTube video once of hackers hacking into a Jeep Cherokee, and as this person was driving, literally controlling the volume of the radio, turning on the wipers, and then cutting off the power to the engine, and literally having it like slowing down, going 10 miles an hour on a highway, which can be pretty scary. But what can be even more scarier is having the whole power for the city turn off, and then suddenly hospitals don't have power to keep people alive or do any emergency medical procedures, and a lot of other problems in the city could happen, like traffic lights not working. Traffic could become a major problem. And Civics Day allowed me to present an idea to make sure that this never happens, as well as my fellow city council members getting to propose their ideas. Like Carly's idea to make a whole new division in the Parks and Recreation Department, or Sarah's idea of adding recycling bins. Civics Day allows for many opportunities to learn and give our own ideas, and for me, these opportunities are very well used. Thank you.
Next, we have our city manager, Civics Day city manager, Allison Sharp. Allison, I think, has probably told Joshua a lot of things while they were sitting together during the lunch hour. Allison, come on up, give us your address. Thank you for choosing to be city manager.
Okay, so first I would like to thank all the Rotarians and Kiwanis for putting together this amazing luncheon today. This is actually my second time speaking in this room in the span of less than a month, so that goes to show how interested these organizations are in our community's youth. I would also like to thank City Administration and Hamilton School Board, Mr. Nick Garukas and Mrs. Joni Kopis especially for collaborating with Hamilton's local high schools to offer such an incredible opportunity to students wanting to learn more about local government. And of course, thank you to our teacher advisors from both Hamilton and Baden, Mrs. Wagner, Mr. Braun, Mr. Mears, and Mr. Keating, for taking hours out of their days for the past few months to facilitate this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So my mom actually works for the city. She's the assignment commissioner, and that's really allowed me to be immersed in our city's inner workings from the time I could barely walk until now, heading off to college in less than a year to hopefully follow in her footsteps in the field of government. Civic Day has gone even further to supplement my knowledge about government over these past 2 years, deepening my love for all things to do with policy, law, and civic engagement. My junior year, I was selected for the position of municipal court judge, and I got to see what I was never allowed to see as a child roaming through the halls of the city building, the courts. During our shadow day, I witnessed a whole morning docket, and Judge Gadmeyer is a big reason why I want to go to law school one day. After my first year with Civic Day, I was introduced to the Embark internship, which is an internship with the City of Hamilton. I was selected for the position with the City Clerk's office, where I worked for 6 weeks over the summer, doing things such as taking minutes for all city council meetings, documenting ordinances dating back to 1909, and even writing some legislation and drafting some grant work. The side of city administration that I saw during my internship was often limited to city council related happenings, and due to that I never really got to see the other side, the more administrative side, and for that reason I applied this year for the city manager position. And while all of city administration works as a team, everyone has their unique roles. That of the city manager was something I was really interested in. It's sort of a confusing title because when you think about it, wouldn't the city manager just be the mayor? But no, that's not true. The city manager is the chief executive officer of the city. You know, he has oversight over all of its employees, is responsible for the entire budget, and is a public hand to all of its citizens. And being a lifelong resident of Hamilton, I've been able to see my city progress from an industrial wasteland that had been ravished by the exodus of many of our largest economic interests to a revitalized community that now stands as a model for other cities around the country. And none of that would have been possible without our city manager. So thank you, Mr. Joshua Smith, for being an amazing mentor and leadership figure during this year's Civic Day. I know the skills that I have learned over these past 2 years will give me a leg up as I pursue an education and later a career in government and politics. The effort and importance that the city of Hamilton places on youth-centered civic engagement programs like these is just one of the many things that make our city so special. Thank you again for everyone who has worked to make this year's Civic Day such a success. This unique experience will be one that I will never forget.
Great job, Allison. Great job, Jessica. School Board President Connor Robinson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connor Robinson, as he mentioned, and I'm a senior at Hamilton High School. This year I had the wonderful opportunity of serving as the school board president. I would like to take this time to thank the Hamilton Rotary and the Lindenwold Kiwanis for hosting this amazing lunch this afternoon. I would also like to thank Baden and Hamilton's administrative staff, as well as the Civic Day advisors, Mr. Braun, Ms. Wagner, Mr. Mears, and Mr. Keating. I would be remiss if I did not recognize and thank Ms. Kopis, who helped the school board create the agenda and develop our ideas. Even with the high demands of her job at the school board, she consistently collaborated with us, even when it was very difficult to do so. During the process, I found the logistics of the school board to be very intriguing. Growing up, both of my parents worked for the Hamilton City School District. With that, the school board and education were often reoccurring themes in their conversations. Whether the discussions were good or bad, it sparked an interest in me to learn how the school board functions. As a school board president, it has been really neat to work with our counterparts at Baden High School to establish new ideas that we felt would greatly benefit our respective schools. We had a great host of ideas and initiatives come up in our planning meetings. From them, we came up with a variety of business items for the agenda, including school safety and increased student involvement. In addition, we introduced the idea of hiring elementary and middle school foreign language teachers, as well as creating joint activities between HHS and BHS, such as the Spirit Olympics and an art show. If I'm honest, leadership is not typically in my wheelhouse, and personally, a leadership position of this caliber has been relatively new to me. Aside from being the volleyball captain, I prefer to just be an active member in the various clubs and activities that I participate in. Despite that fact, this leadership exposure has been a great learning experience for me as I enter the next chapter of my life. I was fortunate enough to learn about the terrific school system that I am a part of and that has shaped our community and youth into a better place to live in every single day. Thank you.
Great job, Connor. And now, the Civic Day School Superintendent, Daniel Sutton.
All right, because I am last, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So I'd like to begin by thanking the Lindenwold Kiwanis and Hamilton Rotary Clubs for your continued support of Civic Day. When I was a sophomore, Mrs. Jana Lewis, my principal, introduced me to a program where I could intern with a lawyer to learn about the profession and get some hands-on experience. That lawyer ended up being Mrs. Letitia Block, who at the time was the assistant law director, and I learned a lot from her during that time in the summer work experience in law. A lot of people tried to talk me out of it because they said that I wouldn't do more than, file folders in the office. But to my surprise, she had me do a lot. I had to write collective bargaining agreements, conduct audits, attend several meetings, and do a lot of research. And the extent of my grunt work ended up being stapling a few resumes in the latter weeks of my time with the city of Hamilton. Shortly after that, I was told about Civic Day. The job shadowing and Civic Day explanation sounded much like a summer internship that I had with the city. So I figured, why not give it a shot? In my first year, I served as a city council member and drafted legislation that nearly failed. In it, I outlined a plan for municipal workers to undergo training in Spanish and American Sign Language to better communicate with the city's residents and to provide them with the utmost customer service. While I suppose no one wanted to imagine stepping out of a comfort zone because it can be difficult and try something new like learning a foreign language, this taught me that life sometimes comes with challenges, and we must fight those challenges with the same drive and tenacity that we are met with. It was with this faith that I applied to Civic Day 2018. Thankfully, I was appointed as a superintendent of schools, and despite not being able to vote or speak unless spoken to during the meetings, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time in Civic Day. During these past 2 years, I have improved on my time management, both written and oral communication skills, and a variety of other tasks that I will be able to use as an international corporate attorney after undergrad and law school. I have never felt more prepared for college and life thereafter because of what Civic Day and the city have given me. Thank you to Mr. Braun, Mrs. Wagner, Mr. Mears, Mr. Keating, Mrs. Kopis, Mr. Karukas, and all the adults who have played a role in allowing us to participate and learn about the way that our city and educational systems are run. They are complex units, yes, but someone once said, only a well-oiled machine runs smoothly, and it is my firm belief that we are fortunate enough to live in such a well-oiled machine, the city of Hamilton. Thank you.
Great job, Daniel. And I know that Tanner did ask you a lot of questions, so you had a good working relationship there. Wouldn't it be great if all these students got involved in public service or got involved with Kiwanis or Rotary and stayed in this general area? How about another round of applause for all those students? Okay, to introduce the Kiwanis president this time, or the Rotary president? Rotary? And now closing remarks by Paul Golias, president of your Rotary Club.
Thank you, Pat. I promise to be brief. I know that everyone here has a busy schedule. I want to thank all the students for coming out, being part of this event. It takes a lot of extra time and effort to do these things. I want to thank all the city employees who took their time out of the day to help these young students and hopefully be an inspiration to these students to go on to further serve their communities. The Kiwanis Club and the Rotary Club, I want to thank them because without the collaboration between these two clubs, we wouldn't have this, and also the Marriott for hosting it. I also want to thank Pat Moeller for taking his time out of his day, and I think he did a fine job with the names. I know it's very difficult keeping all these names. Some are different, but I'd like to give you a round of applause. I think you did a great job. I'm the youngest of 7. I know how difficult it is to keep names straight. So when I'd get in trouble, my mom would look right at me and call me by all my brothers' names. Carl, Tim, Paul, Fred, and I'd be like, no, my name's Tom, I'm a neighborhood kid. And she'd say, no, you're Paul, you're in trouble, come on, let's go. So that's difficult, so good job. With that, I'd like to call this meeting to a close. Take care, everyone.